Hello and welcome to this video. It's Vanessa Bartlett here with you, and I'm going to take you through a 14-day core strength challenge starting right now today. It's day one. So what you will need for this video is a mat, and also grab a notepad and pen, or you can record the results in your device or phone if you prefer. But we're going to do some core tests to help you actually establish where you're at with your strengths and weaknesses. And each day in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be taking you through some really good foundational exercises and talk you through how to correctly work your pelvic floor, your deep transverse abdominals, and really help to tone, strengthen, and sculpt the tummy, but at the same time build healthy postural muscles, because that's super important. Why do we need good core strength? Injury prevention, to help with lower back pain, to help our posture, to help our pelvic stability for other exercise and movement. So core strength is so important with any type of movement or exercise modality that you do. So I just want to let you know, when we're referring to core as well, often people think, oh, it's just about doing, sit-ups or like a sit-up challenge or something. No. So core refers to your trunk, okay, so around the front of the abdominals, all the way to the internal deep transverse abdominals, the supportive spinal muscles as well, connecting there around the spine, your multifidus. There's some other muscles that are back there to help with our posture, to help with, again, movement and flexibility and rotation of the spine. So these are all really important factors in core strength. So don't just think about flat abs, although that can happen. It's about learning to activate on a deeper level those stabilizing muscles, which will then help with all the other benefits, okay? So specifically today, I'm going to teach you how to activate your transverse abdominals, and this is so important. This is actually located deep inside between the two hip bones and then deep inside the tummy here. Now, if you can master this and feel those muscles working, you will perform your abdominal lifts, your sit-ups, your other core strength work, your planks, everything that you do a lot more effectively, because you're firming and toning and activating the deepest layer first. See, there's 3 layers of tummy muscles, and your rectus abdominis, the ones on the outside, that's what people often focus on by doing, like 100 sit-ups or 100 crunches. I want you to get rid of that mindset of just being about the numbers and think more about quality of movement and activation this next 2 weeks, okay? And I'll teach you how to do that. So join me right now. First up, I'm going to teach you how to feel if you are correctly activating your TA, your transverse abdominals, which are deep inside there, okay? So we're going to lay down on the mat. So feet are hip distance, just relax your hips. Relax the shoulders, and if your neck hurts, put a pillow under your head. And what we're going to do is just gently tilt the hips up and back. Tilt up and back. So notice here that we are rolling the tailbone up and then the other way. So there's a little archway forming underneath our back. This will help us gauge our neutral spine, which is a very important position in building core work. Okay, so your neutral spine is literally the most natural place between the arch and a flat back. So we do not do flat back for core work, although you may have heard that elsewhere. We don't do that. It actually goes against the spinal alignment of the vertebra, right? So maintain your natural curve and then relax in that position. Now from there, you're going to place your 2 fingertips on your hip bones. Bring them in a little bit, and then I want you to gently tighten where your fingertips are. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, tighten the lower belly where your fingertips are right now. Now you stay there and practice that. I'm going to come up and just show you. So bringing your hands here in, take a breath, and then you exhale, gently tightening through the lower abs, just inside the hip bones. You should feel a little bit of a contraction or a tightening of that area. So practice again. Inhale and exhale. And it's quite subtle. So you don't have to be squeezing in so tight. It's a little bit more relaxed than that. So let's practice again. Inhale, exhale, tighten. There's just a little bit of a kind of a switching on, a tightening, a firming of that muscle just where the fingertips are, inside the hip bones. One more time, inhale and exhale, tightening. Good. And that's also a good indication that you're working your pelvic floor. So if we want to add to that for pelvic floor, and this goes for males and females, if you inhale and exhale, lift up as if you're holding your wee, and then you have that sensation of underneath lifting and connecting to those TA muscles, you're on the right track. So let's try that twice more here. Inhale, exhale, gently tighten the lower belly and lift up through the pelvic floor at the same time. And hold, 3, 2, 1. Good, one more time, inhale. Exhale, tightening around the TA, transverse abdominals, and lifting through your pelvic floor. Hold, 3, 2, 1, and now let it all go. Good. Now let's return to the floor. So I'd like you to get your notepad and pen right now. And from here, so we've done our TA activation, all right? And you'll practice this as the days go on. The next one here is a knee float. So what we need to do for knee float is come back down, and your knees stay at 90 degrees. Feet and knees hip distance. Inhale, one leg floats up to 90 degrees. Exhale, lower. Other side. Inhale, float the leg up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, other side. Lift, exhale, lower. And swap again. Inhale, exhale. So we're going to continue with that. Stick with the breath. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. And as you do this, your important points are your hip bones cannot move. Okay, if you find that one side is shifting up or lifting off the floor, or you're arching your back, that's an indication that those deeper muscles are not quite switching on enough, right? So let's bring it back a little bit and exhale. Focusing your mind onto the muscles. A lot of correct core work comes back to mind-body connection. So being really present when you do this. So I want you to do 2 more here, knee floats. Can you do it without tensing up your thighs too much and your hip flexors right here? That's another thing that often happens. Do another 2 and notice if your hips or legs get tight, right along the quads. And 1. Good. So what you're going to do now is come up, get your notepad, and write down any feedback as to the cues I was giving you. So for example, and this is about just note taking, right? Take a few notes here about if you felt you were matching the cues. Could you do it without your hips moving? Yes or no? Could you do it without moving your lower back? Was your lower back flattening to the floor? Do you need to perhaps go back and do a few more here to know whether you were doing that? So hips steady, yes or no? Lower back, steady, yes or no? And also the knees at 90 degrees. Did you feel your thighs starting to shake even at this level? Yes or no? Thighs shaking, yes or no? Okay, so just writing down some notes there, observing how you felt and if you did this correctly. Next thing is tabletop. And don't worry, we'll revisit this as the next couple of weeks move on. So coming up to tabletop, that means 90 degrees at one knee. Now this is the important part. When you lift the other knee, is your belly going like popping out and you're losing all that control? Or are you able to scoop in tight and hold your stomach strong to float the second leg up? That is how you determine if you're doing this correctly. So let's do the other side first. Inhale. Now your hips are aligned with your knees, the tummy is in. Do not let the belly pop up as you lift that second leg. Hold. Good. Bring it down again. Try again. So even when you lower your legs, does your belly pop out then? Do you arch your back? Is your ribs connected to the floor? That's a really important point here as well. So ribs down, one knee, belly in, put your hands here so you know if it pops out or not, and lift, and then down one at a time. To do this correctly and slowly is actually harder than it looks. So right down now, let's come up, hold strong in your tummy. Coming up and noting down how you went for tabletop there. Did you keep your ribs on the floor? Yes or no? Did you draw your tummy in and not let it pop out? Were you able to do that? Or did you feel that your tummy kept popping out every time? Perhaps that deep core strength isn't there yet. That's okay, that's what we're gonna work on. So ribs, basically flat tummy pulling in. I'll just call it flat tummy so you know if the belly was popping out or not. And then again, legs relaxed. Maintaining your lumbar curve. That neutral position we did at the start. Lumbar curve. Give yourself a score out of 10. Look, it'll be, you know, personal, of course, and different for everyone here, but just a bit of an indication, because you'd be surprised, like if you put your 3 out of 10 today for that because you felt that your tummy couldn't hold the strength when your legs were up, that's okay, because I'll guarantee you in a couple of weeks that number will go up. So write it down, even if you think it's maybe right or wrong, doesn't matter. It's just a personal note and something we can do a benchmark from. Next up, I'm going to get you to do the sit-up test. Now, sit-ups, roll-ups, whatever you want to call them, it all requires good core, leg, and spinal work to happen together. So coming down, let's start seated. Put your legs straight, and then we're going to gently come down to the floor. Now, tummy in, tummy in. I'm looking for control here. Can you do this without falling and really piecing down your vertebra one at a time? Inhale, arms to the ceiling, exhale, come back up. Now, this is the test. If we can do this without getting stuck and without using momentum. Okay, so can you firstly do up and down off the floor? Yes or no? Look, if you're getting to here, say a little bit up, and then you get stuck and you're like, oh, I've just got that sticking point, my muscles don't quite know what to do here. That's okay. Again, I'll teach you how to build this up in the next couple of weeks. But we're looking for that control of each part of the movement. Now, after having my 2 babies, I had to build this up. It took me 9 months for both, actually a year the first time, after having my first child a few years ago, to do this again, because I had severe abdominal separation. That's like a 7-finger space there with my abs. The rectus abdominis actually split, happens a lot postnatal and during pregnancy. And to build that back and repair, you've got to do the correct movements. So if I was in that phase now, I would not be doing sit-ups or crunches. If you're a mum and you're worried about that, head to my pre and postnatal playlist right now and look up the abdominal separation video to make sure that you're okay to do this. Okay, so the sit-up test. How did you go with that? Can you do them? Firstly, can you do them? Secondly, in a controlled manner. Control. So really piecing one vertebra at a time, down and up, down and up. Good. Okay. Next test we're going to do is the pointer. And of course, give yourself a score out of 10. I forgot to tell you. Give yourself a score out of 10 for sit-ups. If you can't get up, it would be a fairly low score. Okay, so maybe a 2 or a 3. And then note down as well, I got stuck, you know, a little bit off the floor, or I can almost get up, but I get stuck at the top part. Write down descriptive notes, okay, because this will all change and improve for you quite quickly once you do the correct work. So bringing it to 4-point kneeling here. So we've got our hands under our shoulders, fingers apart, and knees under the hips. Here, you want to imagine that you have a really nice straight line from the tailbone through to the crown of the head. So that means you don't drop your head and don't look up too much either. It's just a nice lengthened effect for your neck to follow on with your spine. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, pull the tummy and draw the belly in and feel your abdominals activate like we did at the very start. Take another breath and exhale. Feel the abdominals activate as you exhale, the belly pulling in. And sometimes it's good to do it from this angle rather than on the back, because it gives you that more physical feedback here against gravity. So drawing the tummy in. And now extend your right leg back, point it along the floor. Keep your hips steady and then take the opposite arm out and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap to the floor slowly. Bring it in a controlled manner. So in this one, the pointer, we are looking for hip stability. You should be able to balance a plate of food on your back right now and it wouldn't fall off. Extend the opposite arm. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down and in. Let's continue. Slow. Break it down piece by piece. Arm and leg, then slowly lift without wobbling. So here, I'm looking that you do not wobble. So you're going to note that down, or you're shifting or falling to one side. Note that down. Come down and in. Let's swap. You may feel that one side is a lot more strong than the other. That's quite normal. Lift and down, or more easily balanced. Note that down as well. Let's do a couple more. So the important points here are hip stability, shoulder stability, no wobbling or falling. Can you hold your core and feel your abdominals gently working throughout this movement? So you're moving your arm and leg independently of the core, of the trunk. And that shows that you've got good core strength and stability with those internal muscles and being able to isolate from left to right quite well. Okay, so this is a really good foundational move that you can always do and then progress. Pointer, hips steady, shoulders steady. Good, and then arm and leg straight. Can you do it without falling? Give yourself a score out of 10 based on all those points. Perhaps if you're wobbling a bit, maybe your knee was bent, I'd give you maybe a 5, just as an indication. And then if you're totally steady, you mastered all those points, give yourself 10 out of 10 for that. And then if you want to take it harder, I'll just show this next one. If you want to challenge yourself, which I'll give you throughout the challenge, lifting the feet off the floor adds another dynamic to it and a bit more challenge for you. So if you do it there and then take the arm out, give it a go. Can you do it with your feet off the floor rather than that back foot down? I found that one a little bit more wobbly myself. I'm still building up to that one again. But it just comes back to practicing these different exercises in the correct order. Okay, so pointer advanced, we'll call that one. I just threw that one in, pointer advanced. And then we have our plank progression, and this is a good indication that your core strength is working nicely with upper body strength, balance and stability throughout the body. Okay, so we've got the mobility and the inner strength from those first few, and then we've got full body now happening with the pointer and the plank exercise. So we're going to do it on our elbows. Level 1, I'm going to count to 15 seconds for each level. What you need to do is stay here. Don't drop down between each one. You've got to stay up for each one, okay? So the first level I'll just show you. This will be for 15 seconds. The first one's pretty easy on your knees, and so your thighs and your tummy's just off the floor. So that's level 1 plank, easy. Level 2 for 15 seconds will be up off the floor, straight legs. Level 3 will be one leg 15 seconds, and then the other leg without coming down. And then level 4 will be the opposite arm as well. So if we can build up that and stay there, you cannot drop in between. If you drop after, say, the legs are straight, and then you try and lift one leg and you come to the floor, that means you've only made it to that previous level. Okay, so I'll tell you as we go along. Here we go. 15 seconds, are you ready? Level 1, 3, 2, 1. I'll watch the clock here and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pull your belly in. 9, head up. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Both knees straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lift. 8, 9. Pull your hips up. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. One leg, level 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lift 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Swap, stay here, level 3. 3, 4, 5, 6. How's it going? 7, 8. I'm shaky. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stay there. Can you take the opposite arm out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very shaky. 6, 7. Oh, I'm down. 8, 9, 10. I'll keep counting for you. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can't come back up, so I'll show you, but I'm not counting this. Level 4, the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I'm still counting for you. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Come down from there. If you made it that far, fantastic. You've passed level 4 advanced core strength, okay? So I dropped on level 3, which was the one leg up. How about you? Did you make it to level 2? Or did you just pass level 1? Or did you just pass level 3, both legs? Or did you fall down after one leg up? Note down what happened. I dropped after level 3, didn't make level 4 today. So for level 4 to happen, didn't make level 4 today. You've got to have synchronicities happening between your torso, your shoulders, your core, your right and your left. So a lot of stuff has to work internally and stability wise and strength wise. And again, that's a matter of practice. So I'll help you build that up. And all it is breaking it down and staying in those positions, building strength and stamina, okay? So rather than jumping to these advanced exercises if they're not right for you, it's good that we've got this benchmark, and then I'll help you build progressively in the next couple of weeks. So that's it for the notes. So pop your pen and paper back down. And now right now I'm going to give you a couple of exercises to finish it off with today. So let's talk about mastering our abdominal curl first, or your ab lift. Sit-ups, mini sit-ups, whatever you want to call them. Whenever you're doing this, the spine has to stay neutral. So come out to the tailbone and find that neutral once again, your hands behind your head. Inhale, exhale. Now when you lift, what you want to do is avoid pushing your back and your spine into the floor, because all you're doing is pushing down and using it as leverage. In actual fact, we want to remain weightless, like we're floating up off the floor. Big difference. Exhale. Now draw the belly in, keep your spine neutral so there's a bit of space underneath there. Can you float your upper back and your chest upward rather than like pushing everything into the floor and just digging down? Okay, very big difference. Make sure you comment in the comment section and let me know if you understand what I mean by that and if you get that. So the concept is you're floating up, so there's this length between your tailbone through the vertebra to the top of your crown, the crown of your head. And then in that lift, you should actually be quite shaky. Shakiness is a good indication that your tummy muscles, the deeper muscles, are starting to fire up and actually work correctly. And down. So we practice 5 more here. Slow, controlled ab lifts. Notice I'm not going too high because I'm aiming for floating up rather than dumping down into my low back. Lift. And very, very shaky as well. I notice if I pay attention to kind of like stretching the head away from the hips the whole time rather than curling in, there is a lot more shaking happening because there's more strength. You're not dumping down and contracting into the vertebra themselves. You're actually maintaining length. And that is the most important thing and the safest thing for your spine long term. Keeping it lengthened and not loading it. And one more here, lift. And down, good. And let's practice a couple more leg extensions. So you've got the tabletop, you've mastered that. Now if you find that your belly's popping, come down, reset, start again. One leg, tummy in, pull your belly in. From here, you can extend the leg out, inhale, Hold for a second, exhale, bring it back in, and then swap sides. Inhale out, exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, exhale. So as we're doing this again, the important notes, ribs down. Can you keep your lower tummy pulling in nice and strong? Can your shoulders remain open without you hunching up and tensing through the neck and the upper back? When you start to really isolate your core and the deeper muscles here, you may start to notice other body parts, the neck, the shoulders, the hip flexors start to really tense up because they are used to taking some of the load. But as we go along, I'm going to teach you to keep relaxing these other areas and actually work your core on its own without loading other muscles. Inhale and exhale. Good, and then bring it down here. Knees side to side. Good. Let's bring the knee in, coming up. So even coming up off the floor, if that's hard for you right now, write it down. Write down any other observations or things that you have. So I want you to think now, what do you want to achieve in the next 2 weeks? What do you want to get out of this? Type it in the comments section. Let's do this together. Write it down in your notes. For me, I would like to achieve the level 4 plank again because I didn't do that today. That's my goal, level 4 plank. And also feel like I have more control of my core again. So it's around over 11 months now since I had Leon, and I honestly feel it takes that 9 to 12 months for postpartum for women to get back to how you feel. Look, some people claim that they get their core back in weeks. That's great, it didn't work for me. Your body takes time to recover, and you've also had a lot of stretching and a lot of stuff happen around the tummy, the pelvic floor, the organs, in order to have the baby in your tummy for 9 months. So if you're at that point too, do be kind and patient with yourself. And for you guys as well, if you guys are doing this, males, and you've done core work a certain way or done sit-ups in the gym and things, I want you to focus on slowing things down. Because when you slow it down, I know when my partner Chris was coming to some of my classes, when I had the studios, he would go, oh my gosh, this is so hard, because he was doing like, 50 really fast sit-ups in the gym holding weights, but in actual fact, he was using his hip flexors a lot, right? So just on that, if you're doing like, these kinds of things, lifting, crunching, sit-ups down, getting all these high numbers and high volumes done, holding weights, doing quick twists and all that. Firstly, your spine's in this contracted state and the vertebrae are collapsing. So that goes against the whole lengthening safety principle, first up. And then secondly, your hip flexors overwork. This is why people always get tight hip flexors and sore necks and backs when they're doing abdominal or core work. It's because you're in this contracted state. You've got to stay tall. If you can sit and lean back here with a really tall spine, that's actually firing up your back muscles and your core and your tummy in a nice balanced manner. Okay, so I digressed a little bit there. Let me know what your goals are here. Hope that helps. Just wanted to cover a few basics and give you a bit of education around that too, so that we understand why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, there's a lot of different schools of thoughts out there on core work. Anyways, this is what I've learned and discovered is the best way and the safest way, also by researching a lot of stuff over the years with different really amazing educators around the world on spine safety. So I want you to do this correctly and safely for your long-term health, for your back safety, for injury prevention. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Let's see how we go the next 2 weeks. I look forward to helping you. Type in the comments your goals and type in the comments that you've done your notes as well and observations. Any questions, message me here and I will get back to you. See you next video.